All right, so it's gonna get trippy because I'm used to looking at the screen and not the actual camera lens. So it's gonna look like I'm not looking at you guys. I don't know if that bugs you or not. It does me when I watch videos, but anyways. So here's the piece. I trimmed it out to shape roughly. Left some extra on here on a couple of sides, but gives the rough shape. I think I grabbed every tool I'll need, but Murphy's Law, I'm gonna end up needing something now that I'm in this tight little spot and have to finagle myself to get here. So what I'm gonna do is a little pinhole here. I noticed that I knocked loose. I'll weld on that probably. So right at the lip, I'll back it up a little bit, and it's even with this line here. So I'll shimmy it this way, lay it over, and I'm gonna probably stitch that to start. Then I'll probably make a little relief cut, and I'll start folding this down and flanging this lip out. But to do that, I'm gonna punch me some holes here. And actually got to use a tool that I haven't used very much that I bought from Eastwood a while back. It's a air nibbler. I don't know if anyone's ever used them or seen them, but essentially it's what cut this out. I don't have one of those fancy throatless shears like what Joe Daddy has. But I do have one of these fancy hole punches. These things are amazing. Except when it wants to catch and not release, that's when it sucks. Probably works better if I actually line it up where it'll kick the knockout out. And you hear my air leaking. It's one of the few fittings I haven't changed out. There we go. Anyways, these purple or pink fittings are the ones I use now. They have a nice fat opening. Big old gaping hole compared to that. Should be able to see the difference there, but anyways, that's the quite a bit of flow difference. It is a noticeable difference. Extremely noticeable difference in power when you swap those. If anyone's interested, comment. I'll get the info. I got them off Amazon, but I've changed everything to these. The actual fittings for these tips were cheap. These lock fittings have to be changed. These still accept pretty much every other air hose fitting there is, which is awesome. But they're leak proof on these purple ones. The purple fittings are super cheap. These I think are like 10, 15, 20 bucks a piece, and it comes in a little kit of them. And of course I bent this. Let me flange this back out real quick. Hammer dolly. Great tool. So anyways, eyeball this out. I think I got it where I want it. So, time for welding helmet. Get me some light under here. And comment on one of Joe Daddy's videos about these lights. You'll see it kind of flicker when I stick it on. After a little while, it'll start getting to where it'll hit and it'll actually go out, and I'll hit the button again. All right, boys. Let's put some metal on metal. My pencil up. I probably should have kept it so I could outline this and make sure it's where I want it. That looks to be what I want it. Except for this. Don't worry, I'm sure that wasn't loud. Weld 1 seems to be a pretty solid one. It looks like I'm still in good standing with my locations. So I am, however, going to end up popping myself with this MIG because it's going to bump itself. I am going to find wherever the hell my clamp went. There they are. I am going to clamp this down here. Maybe. Never mind. Got enough room underneath. Yep, not enough room underneath, damn it. Guess I'll just have to push down on it hard. Alright. So I don't know if you'll notice, but there's a lip from this piece that hung out and it's wanting to spring up a little bit on the end. The spot weld got cut off that was on the tip. So the last spot weld's like right around here. So oh, I didn't forget them, I just didn't put them on. Luckily I didn't get popped. These gloves don't have a whole lot of resistance to pops, as you can see. It singes right on through this. So I try not to wear them too much when I MIG. These are a whole lot better. Starting to burn through the back. There we go. Temp I'm at's wanting to burn out this back edge where the hole's punched. That's why I'm having to pop it a second time, or a little bit at the end. Straining a bit to hold down the trigger. All right, so that's that. That back lip's welded down. So, see if I can start forming this a little bit. That's what I was talking about. You start hammering, the suckers will turn it off on you. They're great lights if they just had the little things like that didn't happen. I mean, still, if you catch them on sale, it's 20 bucks for these, so they're still decent. And it's gonna start doing this flickering thing. And this is not a dead battery. But it seems like the lower the battery is, the more it does it. I don't know why. Alright, see how much lip I have left on the other side. Feels right. I may end up just stitching this down. I don't know. Might need my bigger hammer. This is gonna end up bending this up, putting sharp bends in it. All right, so that's good. I like that edge lip. That seams down nicely. This seams down pretty good. I might actually just stitch this up. If I can just fix this bottom corner here. I just want to push this out. I don't know if that's a problem. Rather not push it out, I might trim this lip back a little bit, some with the grinder. And same thing down here. Looks like I've got plenty to work with. Not sure how I want to handle that yet. Lose the weld helmet. It's kind of annoying. Pretty tight right here in this corner. I might just get a hammer and heat it and try to dome it inward. Let's see. When life gives you problems, just get a bigger hammer. So, definitely need to trim this, I think. Not sure. Okay. I guess this light's just not going to work right now. Yeah. Oh, well, that's bending real easy down there now. Not exactly how I want it to, though. I think I might go ahead and stitch weld this side over here. That's pretty good where it's at. Downside is I've got paint there, so good thing I brought this. Now, I'm not gonna pull the genius move and grab this thing that I just heated the hell out of. That wants to be bright. Alright, so push that down. Let's pop some seam stitch welds. Never ending. This light's not gonna work. So swap out to the other one I have on the charger that shows full. See how it does. Seems to be working for now. Let's see if it stays working. Now, I'm thinking I might want to try to trim this real quick before I go weld it too far down. Safety first. Don't think I'm gonna be able to get that there where I want it. Nope. We're just gonna sand it down with this, I guess. All right. Wonder if I can flange that any. I don't think I'll be able to grab this at all. In there better, and I can hammer it out. Probably have to be able to put a dolly behind there and I can hammer it down. But need to pop some more weld. Having to reach tools that are across the way. My weld holder. So, try not to make the notorious mistake of welding with that clear lens on. Nothing sucks more than lining up a spot weld, flipping your helmet down, and popping a weld before realizing you're wearing the wrong helmet. Straighten back out. See if I can crank this up. Now, I'm wondering if I can actually manage to do this. That is pretty close. I think I can do what I'm wanting to do. I'm almost tempted to go get my tech screw gun.
Free stuff is awesome, but free stuff to spice up your
I think,
is even better. Select almost any
I think this flange is going to be too close to spot weld. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. I cut it a little bit too short. I might have to stitch weld the whole thing. So that's what I'll start doing. Start popping some stitches along there. So make sure that's hammered down nicely. That's not what I want to do. Just start popping holes in this shit. That sucks because I can't get up there with that dolly. It's too tight with the bar in there. Luckily, since I'm welding here, it's heating the metal up and making it easy to bend. Ah! Burning holes and shit. This metal doesn't have any backing to it. It wants to just toast straight through it. That's not what I wanted. That falls right on that corner perfectly. I don't know if anybody ever uses this little trick, but it works like a champ. Kind of like a punch. Gotta love it when it doesn't get contact. Alright, so now it's pretty much just a process of filling in all the gaps, stitching it up. Now, being how thin this metal is and how it's wanting to burn through is the reason I'm popping it constantly, or just hitting little spot welds, kind of like I would on a body panel. So essentially this is a body panel. But I think this I'm happy with. There's plenty of room on the back half. What I'll probably end up doing is on the back end, once I get it on rotisserie, the flange that's left that I originally was gonna flange and spot weld to, I'll probably hammer up against this, and then I will actually spot weld it to it, maybe. But I'll at least hammer it up so it's a nice smooth finish, and I'll end up epoxy and seam sealing the whole thing anyways. So it'll be closed in. A little bit of educational here. You can't see what I'm doing, but essentially there's air gap behind this section. So the only piece touching is right on the lip where it's buttoned against it, and maybe it kind of slopes into it. So it kind of sits like this. So everywhere up the sheet metal back here is just air. If you put your MIG wire on that or facing that, all it's going to do is heat it up, turn into a molten puddle, and that wire is going to push on in and blow a hole. So what you need to do is either point it up towards the previous spot weld so it's pushing into eventually solid. It's not going to be able to melt it all right away, but you've got some backing to it. Or you need to angle it to where it's out, or kind of hit it straight and then turn it out. So that way it's making a molten puddle on this for a split second, and then your molten puddle is filling outward. So it's adding to the puddle, but it's not actually pushing into it. You're essentially pushing it out and into solid, which is this. And that'll keep you from blowing through it. I'm gonna come back over this. These will get blended down. I'll probably blend over this some. I think I have all the pinholes or areas filled that was a hole. Hit this. There. Ow. Oh. Got a hole I need to fill up here, I forgot about. Hopefully that filled. It's filled with epoxy there, so it's wanting to bubble out, gas up, and blow out. All right, well, this video has been long enough. It's like 36 minutes, just this section. So, hatch complete minus blending. I don't know if that's acceptable for everyone else, but it's acceptable for me. Let me undo this camera so I can get a closer view for you. If I can unhook it without dropping my phone. All right, so there it is. Let's see if I can get this light where it's not terrible. I think you can see it there good. Yep, all right. So anyway, spot welds on the top. Comes around and just blends down into a bowl or a corner. And that's acceptable to me. I don't know if anyone else has a problem with it, but it's essentially just kind of comes down this line, not quite a 45, but angles over and then hits this curve. And it just kind of rolls out at the bottom. A couple of dents and dings where I was hitting with the hammer down low and right there, but oh well. It's in the trunk area. I haven't decided what I'm doing in the trunk area yet. I'll most likely end up covering this area up a good bit just due to these flanges that I don't really like being visible. I know I was gonna bed line it or put some kind of thick coating in the trunk area to help cover it. But I don't think I want to carpet it, but I want to put something in here to kind of cover it up. So it might end up getting some kind of carpet, I'm not sure. But I think I'm done for the night. Thirsty, want a beer, hungry, ready to go and relax. At least it's been a productive day. Tomorrow I'll come out here, blend these, like I said, and I'll prep everything. I'll probably go ahead and weld these tomorrow. That way I can get these blended as well, all this blended, clean everything up, and hopefully epoxy either tomorrow night or before I go in, or maybe Saturday, so I can have this done. I really want to get this thing up on the rotisserie so I can start working on the underside, finish buttoning up any welds that didn't weld through. I've got a bunch of these spot welds where I tech screwed and it didn't fill it all the way. Let's see if I can find you one to show you an example. Do the limbo out of my car. All right. Let's see here. All right, here's a prime example of several. Oh. All those along the frame rail you see up here. I don't know if you can make that out, but these right here, these holes like that one, you can see the molten puddle through it a little bit. I think maybe you can see it. Anyways, these didn't fill all the way. I don't like that. Like this one here, back here, it wanted to push the frame down. Same thing here. The puddle wanted to build on top and push it down and just expand. It didn't want to seam tight. So I don't like that. I want to make sure they're solid. So they should be solid enough to lift this sucker up and go on rotisserie, I hope. There's enough of them at least. But yeah, I need to weld those up. And I don't really want to do it all on my back. I also need to do a bunch of cleanup underneath. This section here let's see. This axle tunnel is original to the car. Well, I say original. It was on. I didn't replace it. I've got a lot of cleanup on it to do. I've got all these welds underneath to blend. I've got to remove. I don't even remember what this is. Probably a brake. That might be a brake bracket. But yeah, all this needs to be cleaned for epoxy. All these welds need to be cleaned up. These blobby welds from when I did the frame rail. All that shit needs to be blended down and epoxied. I've got a ton of grinding to do on the underside, and I'm not doing it on my back. So, stay tuned. Thanks for watching, guys. And I can't turn the camera off.